All right, so what we're going to be doing is we're going to be making the static website content for our Angular CLI app. We're going to be doing this in ASP.NET Core, and that's because it's just really fast and easy to get it set up. So let me do a new project in here. And the reason we're making a static content is because an Angular CLI site uses JavaScript to inject lots of different things into the DOM, or the shadow DOM as they call it, and the web crawlers won't pick that up. So we're going to make a core application here right on the desktop, and I'm going to say that I'm going to make a new folder in it called static site 2, and I'm going to call this OpenDJRadio.static site. We'll say content. And in this one, I'm going to make it a MVC project with no auth. And we can configure it for HTTPS. And now what I can do is I can look at my startup and I can see that I've got a cookie policy in place. I've got HTTP redirect in place. We actually don't use this with me. And then if I look here, I've got views with an index and an about and a privacy, so we'll get rid of those. Underneath shared, we have a layout and an error and a validation scripts partial. I'll leave the validation scripts partial. This one includes jQuery validate. So if I look at this one, I'm going to copy over a lot of this information. So we're going to say HTML, my language is English. And then this is our content here. And then I'll bring in this stuff here. So I want to say that the shortcut icon is just right here in favorite icon. We'll say it's in www.root.favorite icon ICO. That looks fine. This one is the favorite icon again. Okay, our Google site verification, our Facebook ID, and then we have the fonts here. Okay. The next thing was I had the script, which is this. Good morning, Nar. How are you doing? Welcome to the channel. And we want this to be in the head. No, we don't. We want this to be in the body. Like that. Okay, and then we'll also bring up in here the style sheet for Bootstrap and CSS, which are in my lib folder. And your site CSS. This is site min CSS and Bootstrap min, so that's fine. We can get rid of that one. In the body, I don't need any of this stuff. Except for this render partial, render body, which we'll put here. We need to have a footer. with no content in it. And then here we have my scripts for jQuery and Bootstrap. And then we're rendering my section bin. Have you copied iOS Graham script from Google? No, I have not. So let me go ahead and get rid of all of the CSS. Let me get rid of the images. If I look at the JS, good, we can just clear it out. If I look at the library, that looks fine too. Here's my home controller. The only thing I need is the index for the view. And no models. Let's go ahead and do a update package here. I don't know what iOS Graham script does. And we'll give it a run. Okay, we got to clear out some of these errors here. Layout.cs says that this contains models in it. And validation scripts. I don't see anything in here about model. So let me do a clean. Let me do a rebuild. I wonder why this didn't update. Let me look at my NuGet package manager. Just a little bit less, to be honest. I've had some crazy stuff going on during the day. Let's go back here to be back at 1.11. Okay, view imports. This is where it's looking for models. And now it should be good. And we can give it a launch. When I look at the debugger, it's showing me it can't find the banner, and it's got its content in here. So this is the content that we have, is this carousel. So let's go ahead and get rid of the content. And then I want to move in my favorite icon. Just here. Okay. And then I want to bring in my I think that should be it. Let's run it again, and we don't need this. And that looks good. And if I look at my debugger console, we don't have anything in the error log, so that's fine. Now what we need to do is bring in our carousel. Okay, we're going to use this one right here. And we're going to have a block here with a carousel. And this one comes with these fake pictures. So we'll just start with these. And we'll give it a run and see what it looks like now. Because this is using a Bootstrap carousel, so this should be pretty straightforward. And it's not perfect, but it's close. Where is it setting its timer? And then the CSS that it wants me to add in here is this. Carousel inner, carousel item. So item and carousel have a width and a height. This is the image width. And then a media query. So let's give it another try. Now it looks better. It's still giving me this navigation on the bottom. So if I change this to be height is 100% and I reload it, now it's giving me my slider, which I don't necessarily want, but I like the rest of, ooh, I don't like that. Okay, let's do this one in here. Carousel and carousel inner. Let's get rid of those. And now it's not scaling. Not quite. Let's just try it with everything. So it's close, it's just I want it to scale. It's close. So let's try this one instead. So slide 1 with a caption. That looks right. That looks exactly right. So we don't need the caption. I don't see it activating it. So like if I look at this one, that one, it's not saying that this is carousel inner item active, right? Right? So we'll add these in here. And try it again. Now I've got these buttons that I was hoping it would send me to the next slide, but it didn't. So I have to actively change this. So do I need to wrap this in a div class equals carousel and slide? And we'll give an ID of this to my carousel. We'll add that there and try it again. I don't see what the difference was. So if I was to comment this out and then we put this one back in here. Let's get rid of this and try just directly coming in here. All right, see you later, Nar. So it's working if I click on it, but not manually. So let's get rid of this, and then, no, it just did it. I swear it just changed. Yeah, it does change. So I want to look at this and say, bootstrap and we want to do a carousel autoplay Okay, so here we go. So what it's basically telling me is that I'm doing this. I've got my carousel example here. I've got my controls and they work. I'll try this one again. So I don't see this one working, but I can go from slide to slide. No, after you click it once, then it automatically starts going. So let's do this in JavaScript. Call carousel manually by calling it with this. So let's do this. We can just have my at section called scripts. And then in this I want to do a alert, or I guess I need to do a script and then a alert called test, and we'll run it again. And now I get my test, so my JavaScript is working. So the first thing I want to do is I want to get my carousel here, which is a class called carousel, like that. So in here I could put this as a new object, and I could say the interval here is 2 seconds, and the okay, let's do hover is false. Let's do, what is this supposed to be, a comma? Yeah. And then let's do and then we want to say ride is a carousel. And that should pass in my options to it. Slide 1, 2, 1, 2, But that's after the first one. Could I also do a, let's try that. So now it's reading 2 correctly, and when it's hovering, it's pausing it. So we want to change this to be called a pause, and then we also want to say a keyboard is false. Okay, we can get rid of our links. And now it's good. So we can scrap this. And now what I want to do is look at my other site, which is here. Oops. And what I want to select now is under the app component here, I want to have my div of classes dark. So we could put that here. And then I want to say that we have this mat dialog here, which is called OpenDJRadio. Okay. And then we want to have this thing at, we'll say 2 for now, but we'll move it up to 6. And then underneath the footer, you want to have this. Like that. And we want to do this as a at html.action link and we want to send this to terms of service, and the action name will be index, will be legal. So I need to make a new page in here called legal. Which doesn't have anything in it except for this. Okay. Also in the index, I need to have the style sheet for material icons. Well, just for material, right? Well, no, because that's actually the only thing that you need are the button sets, right? Because also on this component you have the button login container. Right? That looks fine. And then we need to look at the CSS on that. And I have that with media queries here. Okay, and now we can give it a run and take a look at what we got. That looks good. My carousel is not working at this point, right? So this time, let me run this not on HTTP. So it's unhappy with me about something. Maybe this. Okay, somehow I lost my carousel here. Okay, so I've returned it now. So let's try that again. So this needs to be around the carousel. Well, actually, it's called title text. So let me look at my CSS here and add in some title text. if I look at the index here, we need mat display 4. So is there a way I can say Angular material in regular site? Angular material and non-Angular app. So in this case, what I can do is I can change my title text, CSS, to be position is we'll use absolute. And check it again. We need to do the same thing for the bottom here. Position absolute, and we want to say bottom is 0. There we go. And now we want to say text align is center. Back in this layout, I want in terms of service like that. And then in the controller, we need to have another one of these for legal. Static site, we must be jamming. Hi, I'm Andre. How are you doing? Welcome to the channel. Jelson Aragu, which site has the official JavaScript documentation? I'm not sure I understand what you're saying. Hey there, Jelson Yuho. How are you doing? Welcome to the channel. Hey, so that's pretty good. Here's our terms of service. That looks good. These need to be put in the correct places. So if I looked at my site here, and I did this as a H1, and then this is an H2. And you're saying that that's also called an OBJ container? Which I don't see that being used anywhere. So this is a H2. And on this one, we could call this all div called class equals title text. When we look back at the app now, that looks a little better. They're still overlaying on top of each other. And I don't see the login button anywhere. Button login container. Button login container. Says that it put it all the way at the right and the top when I don't see it. Oh, I see. It's behind the image. So we need to look at the Z position here of title text, which is at 5. And then of this, we want to do Z index of 5, of 6. And now we can see it. And the media queries work correctly as well. Let's add in our images. Which are here. One, two, three, four, and 5. Okay. That's good. We need to set the text of the footer to be a color of white. And then if I looked here at my title, we don't want either of these to be title text. And now we're really close to what we currently have. So when this button is clicked, I want to do a at HTML dot action link to now what I want to look up is ASP.NET Core MVC button click. This works. We'll do it with jQuery. So what I want to do down here is I want to do a money sign of the what we're calling the button login. And on click event, I want to do this function, which we just do an alert clicked. And we pick the clicked event. So what I want to do is in JavaScript, I want to navigate to URL. And what we're going to do is a window.location.href is equal to my https://www.opendjradio.com. Hey there, return TM. I'm doing great. How are you doing today, this morning? And that's it. And that's our static site. So these links in legal need to be a home legal, home legal, home legal DMCA. Beautiful. We need to eventually change these buttons out, and then in the actual app itself, which we can at the moment say that this is going to http:/localhost 4200. If I look at this one, and where I start this app, in app component, is we want to say if this is not authenticated as false, then what we want to do is this dot login. Else we want to do all this stuff. Okay, we'll do a find and replace, swap those out, do a run on this. Hey man, I have a question for you. When you're finished with this app, how are you going to market it? Well, I'm hoping SEO helps. I'm hoping word of mouth and grassroots helps. I sort of am one that just likes to create and build. So I hope that if it's a good app and people like it and it works well, that it'll just get picked up and used. Okay, that's good. And then back here on the, we need to run the back end. And then on the content app, we want to do 4200 is correct. And we want to do 6000 is correct. We'll run it. We'll log in. Beautiful. It takes me right to the login. Seems as though I put it into an endless loop. So we're close, but our static content is mostly complete. The only other thing we have is just some styling on those buttons, and I was actually going to change the way that that's done. So now I'm just going to undo my work here. And we can close this and close this one up. And close this one up. And then I can bring my static content site into companies, Pixel Horror Studios, projects, OpenDJRadio, and we're calling it static site 2. And I'm going to say that this is OpenDJRadio.content. We'll say this is .landing. And then I'm going to copy all this stuff into here. So we can get rid of our solution file here. In this one, I can bring all this into here. And then in my backend project, no, I want to go back. We want it like that. So then I can call this thing OpenDJ.landing. And change this to be called landing. We can now go ahead and remove this one, add in the new one, which is called landing. I can rebuild the app. And we look good. We'll rebuild it. Okay. And now when I look in my source tree, over here, I see all of these landing pages and the www root. So we'll stage everything. I don't see anything that I shouldn't have in here. I'm going to say OpenDJ 132 and my time is 50 minutes and my comment is created basic static content site for SEO. And we'll commit that and push that out here. And then we're going to check out the development branch and merge 132 into it. And push that out. Finally, on my board, I can take 132 and I can move that over to be completed. The next one I'm going to do is correct the landing page with images instead of that text messages. So that's on 83. So I'll do a branch here for OpenDJ 83. And I can push that out. All right. Wait a minute. Was I scrolled all the way down? I thought 83 is all the way up here. It is. There we go. Okay, we can close that one up. We can close that one up. Whoops. And as for me, I'm out of time for now. I may be back this afternoon, but otherwise I'll be back at 5:30 in the morning. We'll be starting our morning streams up again. I'll be working all day tomorrow. It's a holiday here, so I'll be working throughout the day. And yeah, we will. I'm going to probably push out a build here in just a few minutes, and I'll announce it on the Discord. So thanks for staying with me. If you guys haven't, make sure you check out our Discord, discord.pixelhorrorstudios.com. We're up to over 340 developers. Also, I put these videos up at youtube.pixelhorrorstudios.com. And until tomorrow, have a great rest of your day. Bye, guys.